I'm stressed. Feeling a little more nervous than I was when I talked to Cullen and when she guest starred. Part of that's just probably the way things go back and forth. And it makes me think of the time when I was in choir many, many years ago, and one of the singers said to the director, "I'm so nervous," and the director said, "Are you nervous or are you excited?" And I try to keep that in mind in situations like this, because I think often it's a blend of those two things, and I think that's partially the case here. This is a very new thing, and so I think there's some excitement to it. I'm curious to see what will happen. I hope there'll be some fun to it, and I hope it can work out. But nerves too, as I think about doing this, and I think I'm worried about time management as it looks more and more like I need to be doing a lot of it on the fly, and I'm just worried about how I have time to make those decisions and get things ready, and so that's led me to some of the work I've done lately. I've looked some more at the schedule and tinkered with it a little and modified some things here and there. I did take the grading document to some students and did a little focus group work with it and found some things that were problematic and some that I'm probably going to have to just try it for a semester and see. But I cleaned that up then a little, and so I'll try to attach that. But then the major document I worked on was a document that's intended to help me to limp through as I try to do this, this more improvisational approach. And so it's called The Big List of Things to Do in Express English. And I started by just jotting down a bunch of things I thought of that I'd done either before in 90 or that I was thinking about doing for this class, and didn't feel like I had enough, and so I pushed myself to brainstorm some more things. But then the real breakthrough came when I split it out by sort of the topic or the area of focus. So I had several things that had to do with learning about punctuation and sentence boundaries and that sort of thing, and then I had other things that had to do with invention or drafting or revising, and by breaking them into categories, it helped me see where I already had several options and where I didn't, and it helped me think about things that maybe I would otherwise neglect. I noticed that in my early version of the list I didn't have much of anything about rhetorical focus, and certainly the 1021 class does a lot of that, but that doesn't mean I should completely neglect it in the express half. So I'll attach the current draft of that. I hope to add more things. I'm a little worried about my ability to have all these things prepped ahead of time. Some of them are ready to go anytime and I can make them up. Others, it would be useful for me to have something ready, especially if I think it might become homework. I may need some kind of handout or something, and I don't know how many of those I can realistically get ready ahead, and how much it's realistic for me to say that I'll tell them, okay, for Wednesday you're going to do this, and I'll have it posted on D2L. Part of that is I just have to be comfortable with the fact that if I'm doing it on the fly, it needs to be a little bit of the, skip the spinning rims, we're on the clock. So I have a very broadest schedule and a very broadest grade document that are designed to be flexible, and I think that's going to work, because the way it's worked out for me is that the grade document just says if I have them doing the reading response once a week, and then I try almost every week to have one thing they submit to a Dropbox and one thing they put on the discussion board, then that pretty much will work out over time, and I don't have to plan all those out in detail ahead. And so I think that can work, as long as I'm thinking in that direction. And the big list of things to do then will help me with both walking into class and saying, okay, what am I going to do today? They seem to be having this issue, how can I get there? And also with generating what some of that homework stuff will be on the fly. Still nervous about the 50-minute class for that. My brain just isn't as fast as it used to be, and so wish that I could maybe have a little more time to think and reflect during that experience with them, and a little more time to talk to them. Again, especially early in the semester, just seems like a lot to do and not much time to do it, both in the 1021 class and in the express piece of it. I think part of my nerves just have to do with overall time management. I don't really think it's so scary for me to try to teach this one class on a largely improvised approach that's a little new. I've never done it fully that way, but many of my classes I do at least some modification on the fly, and and it's common for me to have days on the calendar that I know what they've got assigned to do, but I don't have any idea what we'll do in class, and I think about it a couple hours before class and start figuring something out. And even sometimes survey students when I get in the room and get a sense of where they're at, and then while they do something for 10 minutes I figure out what the rest of the class is going to be. So that part of it's not so threatening to me, but as I think about just the whole of my schedule, and I'll be doing Comp 2 fully online for the first time, so that's going to no doubt have some surprises to it, and trying to do Comp 1 well in 2 sections, and then do this Express component along with all the odds and ends things and the additional stuff that Express involves as far as an administrative side of it. So yeah, it seems like a lot. But everything's shiny. I think this is doable, and I think the list will help a lot. I want to add some more to it, but that approach just seemed useful to me, and I thought somebody else might want to imitate it. I realize many of the items on that list will be cryptic to people because they're shorthand for things that I understand and know about. But of course, if you want to know more about any particular thing, you can ask me, and I can attempt to explain it or invite you to come to class and watch it happen or whatever. But having that sort of brainstorming list available makes me feel a little less exposed walking in there, that there's at least something I have to fall back on without it being so structured and so artificial. We'll see how it works. I think it's going to be really interesting to see what I have to say in the vlogs next semester as it actually comes about. But for right now, that's where I am. So Carl Garrett's commanding USS Defiant, signing off. Deal with it.